Alright, Shalom. Alright, back with another lesson here. Alright, first and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, and this video be entitled, "The NDAA legislation is fueling Babylon to intensify." Alright, for the third WOE. Alright, the third WOE being World War III. Okay, a future prophecy to happen in this time. Okay, as we're heading into. Okay, and recently I have this legislation, alright, the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, and basically it's making Babylon go headlong forward, with the Israelis, alright. Okay, those are issues, okay, basically to go forward with this war in Iran. And as we thought that Iran was the trap, okay, and basically set for Babylon's fall. Okay, as you see, for months now, this war set a confusion, disorder and conflict. Okay, and basically now this war is forward, sustaining, the war to intensify. So Babylon is intensifying with this war. U.S. troops and basically Israeli troops will fight along together, basically going towards furthering towards their demise, their doom. Okay, this is the Lord's determination, okay, to destroy, Esau, Edom and his kingdom. Alright, with Babylon the Great. Okay, so we'll take a little read. Okay, and Lord's willing, this video will be short and edifying, exhorting. Alright, the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, is an annual federal law that sets the policy speeding guidelines on organizations for the U.S. Department of Defense and national security programs. It establishes recommended funding amounts and military rules, though actual money is allocated through separate appropriation bills. Okay, and give you some core purposes, some points here. Okay, birth here. Okay, so promising about for soldiers, for pay and health, but this is to your demise. And even soldiers. Okay, I watch a video from the elder VS 144 Reloaded, as this US soldier, Edomite, whoever, basically dissing Trump. Okay, fed up with Trump and not joining the war, because the people of America seeing that is confusion and disorder. Okay, and isn't helping nobody. Alright, as they go over there, they basically unaliving there in the east. Okay, about 600, I believe, unalive. And this gonna furthermore, this is intensifying, the prophecy Joel 2 verse 20, which I'll read. Okay, and basically Babylon's men, the soldiers, are unaliving. Alright, with this war. Okay, I'll read this. The current legislation status, the FY 2027 bill the House passed. I think this is their version of it. The bill, the House passed a 1.15 trillion version of the FY 2027 NDAA HR 8800, which features provisions on US-Israeli military technology integration, intelligence sharing, and American shipbuilding. So you can see the join, and more so than ever, as we, his brothers talking, the least of the flock is drawing them out. Okay, real time. Okay, and both of them, they're going towards destruction, and towards the third war coming quickly. Alright, Just type up here, is the NDAA sustaining the ongoing forces in Iran? They say yes. Alright, the pending fiscal year 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, or the NDAA, contains provisions explicitly designed to authorize and sustain U.S. military operations in the ongoing war with Iran, though the bill has triggered a massive legislation gridlock. Okay, because the NDAA established defense policy rather than directly appropriating funds, its passage is heavily tied to the execution and continuation of active conflicts. So you can see the Lord is just intensifying and bringing Babylon more to this war. Alright, that's it. That's the only time here, 144. You know, so point is Babylon's advancing. Okay, you know, the Lord is advancing Babylon, okay, towards, you know, more conflict with Iran, right, the Armenians, the Persians, and towards the destruction, the demise, okay, because the fall is basically coming in effect with prophecy and all these things, okay, all right, and you know, there is expense going on with this war too. Alright, as you see with this version, the NDAA, expense going on with it, so you could see, you know, they fall in, the Lord is breaking them up. Okay, and I'll type up. And last thing is the legislation furthering the U.S. with the Israelis to war against. Slacky is the legislation furthering the U.S. with the Israelis to war against Iran. It says yes, the House passed version of legislation contains explicit measures that significantly expand, formalize the U.S.-Israeli military and technological integration for current war effort. Okay, so both of them, technological-wise, integration-wise, they're combining together to go up against Iran, which is prophecy. You know, this is the fall of Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. You know, Esau is the end of the world. Okay, more so than ever, it's intensifying to this third war, where the apostles been teaching and preaching, all from the apostles, the elders on down, and it's coming to our eyes, you know, real time with this legislation basically pushing it. And with this war, you know, with the Senate was, you know, basically with Trump, you know, have an ultimate mind being a cruel lord, you know, and now the Senate, now I guess, you know, backing it up with this war and confusion, divisions going on with the people, you know, not agreeing with this, with the soldiers. Okay, so, you know, the Lord is confusing the counsel, the wisdom. Okay, because, you know, they're not strong. The hammer, the earth is being broken. Okay, so let's get this first precept here. This is the Jeremiah chapter 49. So back here, birth me here, Jeremiah chapter 49 and verses 20. Okay, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, that he hath taken against Edom. Okay, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Timon. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And this is what the Lord is doing. He's making, you know, their habitations, alright, Amalek, you know, desolate with them. You know, two of them are basically going to destruction, you know. Okay, with Babylon, you know, America, or in Amalek, they're going towards destruction. So this is the purpose and the strategy the Lord is planning. Okay, you know, this war is a war they're not gonna win, you know. So this whole situation with the war is, you know, is a state of perplexity, you know, and basically intensifying for Babylon to be destroyed. All right, okay, let's bring on a few other precepts here. This is 2 Ezra 15 verses 28. Okay, behold an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. And this is to take place, okay, as this war is intensifying, for the demise, the destruction of Babylon. Okay, and it goes on to say with the dragons of Arabia and the Carmenians, which are the Persians. Okay, basically destroying, the Assyrians, which the Assyrians in these scriptures are another name for America, alright, in the scriptures. Okay, so we can see the strategy, what the Lord is planning, his purposes, the word, the prophecy, okay, is coming to pass. Alright, I'll bring this is the book of Joel chapter 2 and verses 20. Okay, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, and his hinder part toward the uttermost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Okay, so their pride is coming before a fall, because the army are dismayed. Okay, they confused. The Lord is, the spirit of Egypt is failing, and the council is being destroyed, the wisdom. They're not going to stand a chance in the east. Okay, they're going to be destroyed, those ground invasions, those troops. Okay, so, Babylon's strength, defense is diminishing. Okay, very soon. Okay, already. Alright. Okay. So, and it's all intensifying for Babylon's further destruction, to further Babylon's destruction, Slakia. Alright. Because this is prophecy, what's going on. This is Revelation 11 verses 14. It says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The third woe, being World War III, cometh quickly. This war they cannot win, and they cannot, search out, they cannot exploit this war. This war is basically in Jeremiah 30, 50, and verses 23, I think from 24 being the trap. This is what the Lord said, for them to basically intensify, for this third war to be destroyed. Okay, so the Lord, this is his determination, as in Zechariah chapter 3 and verse 8. Okay, this is the Lord's determination, his purpose, his word, and this is the outcome of this war. Okay, America being devised, even with the beast. Okay, and all the nations coming up against her, alright, to destroy her. And this is what World War III, third will come in. This is the reason. Alright. Okay, so this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verses 3. Alright, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry, and it's not tarrying, it's coming. As I said, real time. Okay, on time, real time, action time. Alright, to the day that, this place is going down, Yahushua makes his re-entrance, his return. Okay, and those vessels of salvation, the chariots. Okay, but this is, we seen the build up. Okay, and where this war is going to. Okay, because we prophets, okay, of GMS, we have the foresight to see, alright, the vision what the Lord gave us, based measuring the times. Okay, and right now is the slack here. Let me just bring it. Right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Okay, measuring the times. I'll read it. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we see in the measure of the times, and we measuring it diligently by reporting publishing the word and, exhorting the scriptures, the truth. Okay, and basically now is the measure of the third woe, all right, about to come to pass. Just other measure have to come to pass, which is the that MOTB, that beast system. And I just want to read verses 5. It says, "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." Okay, so the beginning of Esau Edom's rulership, from the mystery of iniquity, from the Greco-Roman Empire, the Grecians, the Romans, okay, and now, prominently, the revised Roman Empire, make up of NATO, the EU, okay, the beast and with 10 horns and the whore riding it. Okay, now is the end is manifest, is making known, because we could see it, all right, measuring the times, and it's real-time action happening. Okay, so it's the end of Esau Edom's, okay, rule and domination. His blessing is becoming limit, is basically reached its limit. Okay, so I'll just bring one more precept and I'll close it out. This is Zephaniah chapter 1 and verses 14. Okay, the great day of the Lord Yahweh is near. It is near. Okay, it's close, and hasteth greatly. It fastens. That's why I name it. This legislation, is fueling Babylon, because it's pushing money. Okay, and intensifying the day, hastening the day, because every measure basically is onto the other measure, onto the other prophecy. Okay, the day of Yahushua, the Lord's return is near. The destruction of this place, okay, is coming. It's near. It's hasted. All right, it's further into that. Okay, to the destruction, to doom. All right. Okay, so all right, the great day of the Lord Yahweh is near. It is near, and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord Yahweh. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. The mighty man being Esau Edom, his might, Babylon is crying, coming to naught. Okay, his strength is diminishing. It's going down. All right, verse 15, it says, "That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness." Okay, because why? The constant war and destruction against Babylon, all right, identified as America in scriptures, mystery Babylon. Okay, with the wickedness and basically her, she's measured. Okay, now and it's coming. The recompense is coming. So the house of Esau Edom, okay, it is going down. Okay, the wisdom is going, and the might is basically expended. Finished. Okay, so Lord's will in this video was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa Abad Babal and Shalom.